Thursday Thoughts for Soccer's Morning Show. Soccer Down here, John here, you there. And with Thursday Thoughts on the table, there's a lot to talk about. We've got Atlanta United going on, 4-0 win over Colorado. We've got all of the rest of Major League Soccer that happened last night. We've got stuff going on overseas. There was the other part of determining who is going to be playing in Istanbul for the championship in the Champions League, and it was about as dominating a performance as we've seen in quite some time. Manchester City, and if you saw on social media after the match, Pep Guardiola going into the tunnel, stops, turns, points at Rio Ferdinand. I told you. Morning, Alex. Hope you're doing well. So whatever's on the table this morning, we'll go over the match with Atlanta United and remind everybody just how silly it is to do anything involving juice boxes when it comes to Major League Soccer. Last night, morning, David. Last night, Charlotte beat Chicago 2-1, but it took a while. Cincinnati put 3 on Montreal, and it could have been a lot worse. Columbus put 2 on LA. My guess is it could have been a lot worse. Orlando and NYC, 1-1 draw in Central Florida. Yeah, Sean, if I could get my Florida Panthers to play like United and City. In good shape tonight for game 1. Morning, Sean. Hope you took your clubs, or if you're going out to take your clubs or your hip waders, one of the two. So Sean has an Eastern Conference final in the National Hockey League to be concerned about. And he sent an entire eastern half of, well, it made just one province, but sent one province into a tailspin when it came to his Florida Panthers. And the world is entirely gripping when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. No golf till Vegas for Memorial Day. We bring in Jared Smith. And Jared, I was once again reminding folks just how silly it is to do anything juice box related when it comes to Major League Soccer, once again, especially after last night.
Yeah, if you want to bet on MLS, go get help instead. Set your money on fire, put it in a mattress, and then set that mattress on fire. I can give you some incredibly disturbing and creative things you can do with your money, other than betting on this dumbass beautiful league. And please understand when I say that, I'm not diminishing it. I know it's a thing, and it pisses me off a lot.
Yeah.
Because we've had national pundits do this, where I felt like they just crap on the league itself because they think it makes them look cool. Chief among this was during the MLS's back tournament, where somebody made that account that was like the insider account, where they kept like leaking stuff, and just everyone was falling over themselves, fawning over this damn account. And then the second everything started going well, that account went quiet and everyone shut the hell up real fast. When I call this league stupid and beautiful, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. It's so chaotic, and it's so ripe for parody and the insane amounts of travel and the weird fan bases and the weird histories. It's beautiful. It should be celebrated and enjoyed.
Yes.
I will go to my grave pissed off about the MLS's back tournament insider account thing, just because everybody was falling over themselves, fawning over this damn thing. Because you have people who were just no matter what they said, their actions told you that they cared more about it failing than succeeding.
Yeah.
When you're trying to keep things going for a league during a pandemic, you've tried to find a way to make it work. And it ended up giving us a really good final, which for Atlanta involved a lot of schadenfreude, even though Atlanta washed out of it and it spelled the end of Frank de Boer. Orlando made the final and then proceeded to step on like 25 rakes against Portland. That part was enjoyable. But yeah, I will go to my grave pissed off about the way some people covering the league handled that, because you can tell me whatever you want. Your action showed me that you cared more about it failing, and you took more of a schadenfreude in the concept of it failing and enjoying all this, the rumors about things going wrong. And then when things weren't going wrong, it got real damn quiet real fast.
Mm-hmm.
But that tournament also gave us the late night extravaganza that was, I think it was Kansas City and San Jose, where it was like 4-3. It was back and forth the whole way, and Jason was so pissed off because he didn't get to watch it, because it started at like 10:30 at night, because it's the summer in Florida. It started super damn late to begin with, and he's like, I had to go to sleep. I had to get up and call the Atlanta-Cincinnati game, which was an abomination, because that's the game.
That was breakfast.
That was the breakfast game. It was like 10 a.m. I think it was Jake Mulroney gets the red for Atlanta, and it's red. And then Cincinnati proceeds to sit back with 10 men.
That was awesome.
Yap Stam, I think, was managing them at that time.
That is correct.
But they're up a man, and they're playing like they're down a man, and they finally get a Frankie Amaya Galasso at the end to win it 1-0. And it's just the most ridiculously upsetting performance I've ever seen from a team up a man. That whole tournament was stupid. Yes. Anyway, Atlanta won last night. That was fun.
Victor Rivas.
I don't know what to do with you if you're upset about last night.
Yeah, Victor Rivas was the man in the middle for that Cincinnati match, by the way. And it was Victor Amaya scoring in the 76th on July 16th of 2020. And I'm trying to find the craziness from San Jose Vancouver 4-3. Yes, San Jose Vancouver that allegedly started at that was supposed to start at 9:00 Eastern time.
It didn't, because it was like midnight, and I was watching that game. Like, what the hell am I watching?
Yep,
it was just this back and forth affair. And Sean, it's not as Kroger as much these days as Lidl. We moved really close to a Lidl, and I enjoy Lidl. Plus, I can get a croissant for 89 cents.
Yep,
my day is better because of it.
In that match that was supposed to start at 10:30, but allegedly started earlier, it was a 2-0 lead for Vancouver going to the half. Then it was Rios scoring at 45 plus 2 to make it 2-1. Dahomey scores early in the second half to make it 3-1 in the 59th. Wando scores in the 72nd. Alanis scores in the 81st. And Shea Salina scores at 90 plus 8 in front of Marcos de Oliveira for the 4-3 craziness on July 15th in Group B.
Yeah, man, that goes down as one of the most absurd sporting events I've ever seen in my life. Not even just a soccer game, a sporting event. It was drunk and it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Coco says MLS midweek makes MLS weekend look predictable. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, Katie. Yes. Jared. Jared is apparently still raging about MLS is back, and it's good to be back, Katie, and it's good to have you back. All right. So we've got rumors with Luis Araujo. We'll get into that in just a little bit.
We do?
Yeah. It's
okay. I'm only with you for 20 minutes. So what the hell?
Okay. Once again, we have, thanks to Coco, one of our intrepid producers, Flamingo. This is from Globo Sports. So this is tier A. This is tier A stuff. Flamingo advances, and this is through Google Translate, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time. Flamingo advances in the hiring of Luis Araujo, formerly of Sao Paulo. Currently at Atlanta United, the 26-year-old right winger was reviewed by Tricolor Paulista and had a good spell at Lille before reaching MLS. From Fred Gomez and Leticia Marquez, updated at 9:02 this morning. Transfer market only opens in July, but Flamengo has already made progress in hiring a right winger. Luis Araujo, who plays for Atlanta United, was revealed by Sao Paulo. Contract will be long, and the values are still being settled. The expectation is that the negotiation will take place in the coming days. The player will arrive at the Flamengo at the opening of the next window on July 3rd. Left-handed Luis Araujo entered the field for Atlanta this Wednesday and scored one of the goals in his team's 4-0 victory over Colorado Rapids.
And dude, Luis was so good last night, too.
He was.
I'm so happy he got a goal.
Yep.
I wish he could use his right foot even a little bit, but, dude, he worked his ass off, and he impacted a lot last night. I was happy for him. I mean, I was happy for everybody, but, dude, it was very cool to watch.
Yeah, and to see that moment where the two defenders for Colorado, it looks like they're going to create an opening in between each other, but they both slide, creating that window to the near post, and just that touch that Luis had, putting it past the defender and past Yarborough, who was flat-footed on more than one occasion last night with Atlanta United's attack. That was a gorgeous goal last night, and that last move from Luis was pretty filthy. So good for Luis to get on the board last night when it comes to goals themselves. And, so good by Luis. Good for Tyler Wolff to get his first MLS goal on the board. Thiago, it continues to be ridiculous on free kicks. And now, all right, so I'm just going to post this to the floor. This might be my QOD.
You already have a question in the queue for you, but carry on, my wayward son.
Why in the blue hell do you lay down? Why do you have a player lay down behind the wall?
Because if you're going to jump, you want someone back there so that they can't hit a gopher hunter into the corner. Now, the counter to this should be Nick Raimondo, U.S. national team legend.
Yes.
Always told his guys, when you jump with your toes down.
Yes.
Like a ballerina would.
Yes.
And then your toes, at the very least, would catch it and slow it down. Yes. Much like the bristles on a broom would.
Yeah.
That being said, Colorado threw everything at that but a child of God in a sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter because, first of all, I can't hear Yarborough's name without thinking of Cale Yarborough. I kept thinking, Cale Yarborough's got a second career, and it's a hell of a decision.
Just don't run into Bobby Allison's fist.
No kidding. Cale Yarborough is one of those, by the way, where it's like, which NASCAR driver doesn't have a legacy, like a legacy of children or parents or cousins racing? It's Cale Yarborough, and it's kind of weird. You just kind of figure he would.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they threw everything they could at him.
Yeah.
By lining up the wall the way they did, and none of it mattered because Yarborough's on the left side, basically daring him to get it over the wall and back down. He got it over the wall. The damn thing crossed to hip level, man. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like he got it up and just under the crossbar. He got it up and back down. Like that thing might have hit Vern Troyer in the head. He got it over the wall, and then he turned the gravity on.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it looked like Yarborough was fading to the far post initially, and that's why he had the defender there with him away from the wall and halfway between the wall and the goal. And so, it's almost like Yarborough had that other reinforcement there for the near post so he could cheat a little bit to the far post. And still you had the one step and that flinch that Yarborough had where he moves to his left and Thiago sends it in up and over at the near post. And Yarborough is just kind of looking over and it's like, well-ish. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. What's he
supposed to do?
Yeah, that's absolutely. And so Yarborough got caught leaning the wrong direction, and it goes in with Thiago. And Ricky reminds us that Tyler, Owen, and Josh, the first father-son trio to score in Major League Soccer regular season. So that we had that last night. So Katie goes, the head scratcher to me was the guy who moved off the line into no man's land last minute before leaving that whole side open. Still a lovely take from Thiago. Yeah, I mean, that was – that's what you're staring at. You're looking at that lineup and you're trying to see, okay, where's Yarborough and where is Yarborough leaning? And he was leaning toward the far post. And then you had that one defender who I thought was there to help protect the near post in and around the six. And yeah, it went in regardless. And you just kind of sitting there going, yep, you put your hand up and it's like, yep, that's about normal. So Yakamaki scores. Can we talk about Brooks Lennon for a second?
What do you want to talk about?
How ridiculous that ball was that in addition to play in general.
It's great distribution. Quentin Westberg should get a secondary assist. I mean, because it's great distribution. And then Yakumakis, y'all ever tried to bring a ball off your chest like that? Over the shoulder?
Yeah.
Like Willie Mays style?
Yeah.
It ain't easy.
No.
And then he sombreros it 15 feet in the air like he's I'll tell you the first thing I thought of was Luis Fernando did that over the weekend for Memphis in their win. Former Atlanta United 2 legend Luis Fernando, the Atlanta United legend actually, he was on the first team deal for a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Fernando did that for Memphis when they won over the weekend. Did the same thing. His just bounced in on its own. He didn't follow it. Yako followed his, but dude, that's insanely difficult to bring that down over your shoulder like that, and then to have the wherewithal in that moment to sombrero it over the keeper, but also you have to get the height right, the touch right, and not overcook it so that it goes over them and then over the bar. Like, he drops it perfectly.
Yes.
It's so stupid, and the ball from Brooks is so damn good.
And getting Yakumakis to drop the lob wedge out. He pulled out the 60 degree and made it just go just short of the hole, and then it was an easy putt in. So you got goals. You got a goal from Yakumakis, who once again is getting into game shape, because once again during the week in practice is an entirely different thing from game state and game shape. So just developing there, and I'm thinking it was setting up possibly starting with the match in Chicago. Ronald Hernandez actually, and I made a point to ask Gonzalo Pineda about Ronald Hernandez after the match. Ronald Hernandez did really well at left back, subbing in for Andrew Gutman.
And Ronald Hernandez is that dude you got to have on the roster. He is like an Amar Stadich in that I know Amar has really grabbed a lot of starting minutes this year. But Amar Stadich is a guy, when you look at on paper, and I'm trying to be careful how I phrase this because I don't want it to be taken as disrespectful.
Right.
Because I'm a big fan of Amar.
Yes.
I think he's one of the most high IQ soccer guys you're going to talk to on this team. He's a guy on paper who you're thinking is going to be a depth guy, but he's going to come at a reasonable salary charge. If and when he plays, at the very least, he is going to be a neutral for you, and is very rarely going to be a negative for you, and is more often than not going to be a net positive for you. Ronald Hernandez has been that guy for a couple years now. He's played with the twos we've seen to stay in shape, and he can be a leader down there with them. When he gets on the field, he does his job. Yeah, I mean, I think was it somebody just mentioned? Katie mentioned until he ran into kryptonite Jonathan Lewis. Jonathan Lewis is a tricky matchup.
Yeah.
Jonathan Lewis with fresh legs he's not overly fast, but he's pretty damn technical, and he's really good off the ball with his movement. Jonathan Lewis can put you in hell real quick. It's an interesting matchup when you're tired, and that's why teams do it. It's why Atlanta makes changes like that. You bring in somebody who is really good on the dribble like that to run at a tired, in that case, left back. And yeah, I mean, Jonathan, he held on. Jonathan Lewis challenged him more than once, and hey, man, he held on, which is all I could ask.
90 minutes last night, 5 tackles, 1 dribble pass.
I miss Mo Adams so much, Will. I loved Mo Adams.
Yep, 6 for 12 on his duels, 6 of 11 on the ground. He had 1 offside, 71 touches, 89% passing on 71 touches at 47 of 53. 6 for 8 in long balls, Ronald Hernandez last night.
Ricky, I had been saying, man, Atlanta might have the best fullback league in the fullback room in the league. I think they do straight up. There are other. You have other fullbacks in the league who, you still have Richie Larea, who on his day
he just fell down again.
What?
Richie just fell down again, by the way.
He did, but Richie Larea on his day is the best fullback in this league, man. He is so damn dynamic. But like top to bottom depth wise, I think Atlanta does have the best fullback room in this league because Brooks Lennon is underrated ultimately. Um, like Andrew Gutman is just an absolute dog out there, and
Mm-hmm.
the more I thought about the game the other night is Gutman not being there. I think if it's somebody other than Gutman who gets that red card, maybe Gutman doesn't let them drop off as much after the second goal. But he very much is a bulldog about things. But Ronald Hernandez showed you what he's got. You know you have Caleb Wiley who is a left back by trade and playing forward because this team asks it of him. And you still have Aiden McFadden, who is, man, we've seen Aiden McFadden with the first team. We've seen Aiden McFadden really develop into a leader on the second team, John. Aiden McFadden can play.
Yeah.
And that same kind of Ronald Hernandez guy where he's only going to get a handful of starts in the season for you, but he is going to absolutely put in the work. Kai Wagner's a really good shout for maybe the best fullback in the league. But yeah, Larea angers everybody because he gets a little dark artsy at times and a little bit beyond dark artsy at times. But ultimately, I think it taking the fullback room as a whole, I think Atlanta has the best room of fullbacks in the league, which is something I never thought I would say about somebody other than a Big Ten team.
Yeah. Last night, Brooks had 2 assists, 1 clear, 1 for 3 on his duels. He had 79 touches, 50 of 58, 6 key passes, 4 of 5 on his crosses, 1 of 2 on his long balls. The big chance created was goal.
Nobody likes Richie Larea. It's okay. He's insanely talented. Nobody likes him. It's okay. Yeah. Both those things can be true.
Yeah, 2 shots off target and 1 for 3 on his dribble. So that was Brooks Lennon last night, who punched an 8.4, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. So, and we mentioned Luis last night. Luis also, I think Luis also had an 8.4 last night with the goal, 65 touches, 38 of 46, 4 key passes, 3 of 4 on his long balls, 4 shots on target. And the thing about Luis is that Luis had 4 of the first 11 shots for Atlanta. Actually, he had 5 of the first 12. 5 of the first 12 shots were Luis Aruju's. Go for it.
No, I mean he's able to cut it. He's able to get on his left foot, cut inside, try and create something. And it's different because there are times where you're going to play with your wingers getting really wide, and then you allow the underlap for when they get their heels really wide. You get wide in attack, narrow in defense. You have your wingers. In this case, it's Etienne, who I thought was fine. I thought he was better last night. There's still room for improvement for Derek Etienne Jr. Yeah. But I didn't expect it all to come in one fell swoop. And so last night was the kind of game he needs now. He has to build on it for next game. But I like that Etienne hasn't sulked. He's been trying to take that step. Good for it. Good on him for it.
Absolutely.
But you put your wingers sometimes out wide, and then find those spaces for guys like Lennon and especially Gutman to be able to kind of attack those channels in between. But sometimes with Araujo, you want him to step inside and have the overlap versus the underlap because then he can be more goal dangerous. And he was goal dangerous last night. With that, I have to leave for right now, but I'll try and come back.
All right.
Sorry, I know I came in like a hurricane and left like a tornado, but
nothing out of the ordinary. So come back if you can. Jared Smith hanging out with us this morning. We'll go over the numbers. We'll go over what you guys thought about last night, and the discussion has drifted into where is Mo Adams? And Mo Adams is signed a 4-year deal last June. So he's in the end of year 1 of a 4-year deal with Al Shabaab in the Saudi League. So Al Shabaab right now is in 4th in the Pro League. So that's where Mo Adams is, everybody. But yeah, I mean, you look at what happened last night as a part of everything else that was going on. You had goalless draws with Toronto and Red Bulls. You had a goalless draw with Philly and DC. Apparently, DC put Philly through hell last night. Rich Ransom, if you're watching, you can help elaborate on that story since that was in Chester. Dallas beat Vancouver 2-1. No real surprise there. Minnesota United beat Houston at home at Allianz 1-0. Nashville beat Miami by the score of 2-1. The goal by Miami literally was scored at the last kick of the game. A friend of the network, Lucas Panzica, on the call there on 104.5 last night. Salt Lake and Portland, a goalless draw. LAFC and Kansas City, it was a 1-1 draw. And Kansas City almost won that one late. And Austin, once again, and we'll talk to Nico on Friday. So Thursdays with Nico will be Friday afternoon. Friday will be very, very busy for us. But Seattle loses to Austin at Lumen Field. And this was kind of what I was getting at about the whole idea of never bet on Major League Soccer. Ethan Finley and Jossie Zardes had goals for Austin last night to get a 2-0 lead. Freddie Montero scored with 11 to go, 2-1, and that was your final. So, yes, the main reason that you should never, ever use juice boxes on anything Major League Soccer, once again, happened last night. So, literally, yes. And, Will, it was absolutely true. It is absolutely true. And looking at Joe Davis, renovated, and tomorrow, home opener Friday for Hunt City. So that one's going to be a fun night for Huntsville, and it's going to be great for MLS Next Pro. That's after you started with a 7-game road trip, and you get Crown Legacy dropping in is the word I'm looking for. Dropping in to take on Hunt City tomorrow night. It's a very, very cool moment for soccer there in the Rocket City. And I love those. I love those jerseys. I love the Soccer Not jersey from Olive and York, don't get me wrong. But I like the Hunt City jerseys as well. And they probably could send me to the poorhouse with everything that they're putting out. Joe is sold out. Very, very nice. And yes, 1:45 today, 1:45 Eastern time, is the announcement that Mohammed Mansour and the Sikwan tribe are combining resources, and it is going to be Team 30 playing at Snapdragon starting in 2025. It looks like they're going to lease at Snapdragon, and so that'll be team number 30, 15 on each side, room for probably 2 more, and then you've really got to determine whether or not, if you're going to do MLS 1, MLS 2, do the whole up and down pro rel thing. And I wish I had my gong, but you go to 32. I think that's where you stop, unless you think that you can get to 40 and start doing things in other divisions and things like that, and other breakdowns. But yeah, so 1:45 Eastern time. The announcement is scheduled in San Diego for Team 30 for 2025. So we'll see what happens there. Very, very busy day in soccer. Obviously, let's roll through your comments and see what you guys I don't know what I was stepped a little distance away from you. Alex, I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't say poorhouse. Yeah, so I think I don't know what I don't know what you think you heard, sir. But yeah, you might have missed the modifier in there somewhere. But like I said, it was good last night to get the 4-0 win for Atlanta United. Once again, Thursday thoughts are what they are. Whatever's on your mind, get it off your chest. If it's about Atlanta United, great. It's about Major League Soccer, fantastic. If it's about what happened with Manchester City yesterday and Real Madrid, which was about as dominant a performance as we've seen in quite some time. Could be about Hunt City and MLS Next Pro. Save that for tomorrow. Got a lot of other news to get into involving stuff in Portugal, the Ivan Toney ban we have to get into. We have to get into the announced departures from Liverpool. So a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get into your early thoughts this morning. Thank you, Sean. Sean says it did well during the halftime show at the Bench yesterday. It's fun. It's literally the way that I'll pull back the curtain here. I'll pull back the curtain on halftime. Traditionally, to do prescription for victory, it's something that we have to organize early in the week. And so it's talking points, and you see that before the game and everything. For the Five Stripes Live at the half, and I admit that I forgot that to throw my index card very David Letterman-y like I always do at the end of the segment, because we're kind of rushing to get everything else going. During the match itself, in that studio space, I am talking to everyone in the room that's with me in the studio. And I'm talking to the producer, and I'm talking to everybody that does, that's responsible for all the graphics and things like for Scanna and all that. So literally I'm having 3 conversations at once. And we're all taking notes. And when I see something that I want to have in the highlight package, I'll sit there and say, okay, can we pull that play? Can we pull that play? Can we pull that play? And so that's what you're looking at when we're looking at that highlights. It literally is like stacking a sportscast. And we get in there, like I said, game days, we get in there 5 hours ahead of time. And we have meetings 4 hours ahead of time. Then we go over the rundown, and we sit there, and it's like, okay, here's what we're doing. We go here, 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 and here. We have these options that we can play with, and this is how we do it. So from about 4 hours before the match, and then we're out there, and we go to the Gulch, and we catch up with you guys because we were in the Home Depot backyard yesterday with the Fambulance. It was good to see our friend JR, who's a part of that yesterday. So we're piecing the stories together for Joe and getting all of that material together. And I'm glad that you guys have embraced Joe the way that you have too, considering he's a new guy. And so for Joe Freihofer to come in and have the Hoff be as accepted as he has been early on, I want to thank you guys for that. But yeah, from about 4 hours before kick, that's when we're doing all of the pregame stuff. And then in game, literally, it's like, okay, here's a highlight, here's a highlight, here's a highlight. We're stacking everything, and it lays out that way, and that's how it goes. So yeah, it's 4 hours of prep, and then it just absolutely just turns itself into this high-speed pursuit of trying to get everything done for 2.5 or 3 minutes at halftime. So, no, it's very, very fun to do. Ricky, who looked worse yesterday, Colorado or the FIFA 26 logo? No, Nix, you do not hassle the Hoff. You do not. You do not hassle the Hoff. Who looked worse yesterday, Colorado or the FIFA 26 logo? I never thought that bubble letters and numbers would come back, but who knows? I think that's 10:45 tonight, isn't it? I think that's tonight on FS1 as they unveil the branding for the World Competition in 2026. So 10:45 West Coast time is San Diego, MLS 30. 10:45 Eastern time in the night is your layout for the World Cup. So bubble letters for the World Cup. Oh, it was last night? I think it was last night. I think you're right. I thought it was Thursday night. But anyway, 10:45 some evening. So, yeah, we were all kind of busy. So, yeah, bubble letters and numbers. Okay. Certainly a choice. Coco. Aruju puts it together last night. Rumors surfacing the morning after about him returning to Brazil. Coincidence? Sean, Jarrett's gravestone. San Jose just gave up 4 goals again. Time for a Kroger run. That's the epitaph on his tombstone. San Jose. Yeah, there you go. Now we're all talking about epitaphs on Jarrett's tombstone. What do you want on your tombstone, Jarrett? Pepperoni and sausage. No. San Jose holds LAFC back from setting season points record while holding the wooden spoon. There you go. MLS, yeah, and we got into the MLS midweek stuff. Hutcho, happy about last night, happier when we start beating those teams at and above our standing level. Well, now that you've got Yakamaki's back and you get the interplay with and Gigi and everybody else and the running in behind and all these kinds of things that we've always talked about. I think having Gigi back is key to that. So we'll see if Gigi gets the start. I think that's what this was leaning toward, was today being a regen day and then everybody dialing it up tomorrow just in time to get out of town. So you'll have a morning practice tomorrow, and then everybody flies goes to Chicago to get ready for Saturday night. And so we'll see what the lineup looks like, especially on a quick turn. It'll be interesting to catch up with Jason if we can tomorrow during weekend whip around and find out what he thinks about what he thinks about what the lineup will look like. Quentin Westberg came up big at moments. Definitely there was that one moment, I want to say it was Barrios, who had the shot going upper 90, and Quentin went full extension. Would have been goal of the week contender, but Quentin Westberg made it save of the week contender. Oh, excuse me. That's what happens when you don't have enough caffeine. Getting back to the MLS's next flashbacks, had such a winnable group. Yeah, that breakfast match with Cincinnati where they're just kind of punting it long the whole time. And it's just like, nope, we don't want to be here. Oh, okay. All right. So Sean with the QOD, with his QOD. All right. Since Jarrett was on his way to Lidl, which I say it both ways, and I know that it's wrong half the time. All right. Rank Atlanta supermarkets. Super H, Lidl, Trader Joe's, Publix, Kroger, other. All right, there you go. See, now what we need to do is a banner here, but I can't cut and paste the numbers and the letters and all of this. So once again, QOD, ranking Atlanta's supermarkets. Ranking Atlanta's supermarkets. Super H, Lidl, Trader Joe's, Publix, Kroger, other. Would Walmart count? Walmart supermarkets or Walmart Market or whatever they call themselves. Rank them. Let me know where you guys get your stuff, where your hidden deals are. If you really want to pay for a lot, most of the time it ends up being Publix, because Publix knows where their locations are, and it's they know the level of convenience means that their prices are slightly higher than other places. So they know they know what it means to have the locations they have. I'll say that about Publix. Yeah, Joe Boss. Luis finally has a decent game, and boom, the rumors. Might be a draw, Coco. Who has less of a right foot, Miggy or Luis? I think it's about 50-50. Yes, well, Hutcho, rank them however you wish. Rank them however you wish, Hutcho. Neighborhood markets. Yeah, and so Hutcho says, can we rank based on their coefficients of price gouging? So there you go. And Aldi, that's another one. Will brings Aldi to the table. Usually get food from Walmart and or Aldi because they're both right by my house. Exactly right. So Ricky, go vote for Luis for player of the match day. He earned it. Don't know about Hosetsu, Hutcho, and sweetening the deal. Katie Weaver, yep, the inevitable Aruju insurgents before we sell him. Very good last night. Thank you, Bam. Bam Sporting almost got it from you. Almost got it from you last night. Sean, can we talk about how bad of a PK Almada took? He made up for it, but that almost looked intentional. I mean, when you look at it, I think that it looked like Thiago was he was trying to go upper 90 with it, but it looked like he was just leaning back far too much. And like when you're leaning back, then your angles are predisposed to putting it in the air. I think that Thiago looked like he was just leaning back far too much as he was trying to go upper 90 with it. But yeah, with him in my fantasy team, it was a bit of an adventure last night. It would have been, and I also think that the match might have been a little different, at least the texture of it, if Thiago had gone with the early PK, and then you end up with the free kick. You'd have had 2 from Almada in the first half. I think the tenor would have been a little different in the second 45 minutes. Would it have been 4? Perhaps. Might have been worse. Robin Fraser admitted that their game against Philadelphia was a stinker. And after the second goal was scored, everything just, you had the subs come in, you had the fresh legs come in for Atlanta, everything just opened up. Priso was on a yellow, and so you had to figure out how much longer you were going to have him in the match. And then it ends up with 4 in the overall. So, you had all of that there last night. Speaking completely and totally selfishly, remember, join the Fantasy League. If you haven't joined the Fantasy League, join the Fantasy League. Jason Wright with a W Agency on the Facebook. Jason Wright, AGEN on Twitter. Jason Wright with a W. You can beat me because in the Pro Rel League, I'm awful. And in the League, I'm not that good. But, yeah, I had Thiago last night, and I had Brooks Lennon last night. So it would have been more points with Thiago, obviously, if he had put the penalty in earlier. But he's not going to. But Hutcho, he's not going to get the gig from Younghoe Koo. He's not going to get the gig from Younghoe Koo. Let's see, David. Gigi looked awful for 30 minutes, scored an amazing goal, playing balls off his own plant foot, missing horribly on the Almada through ball with the left, then bam. But that's when you have individuals, like this, when you have those talismanic to turn it into an adjective, when you have those dudes up front, you're gonna get those moments of brilliance, and you're gonna get the moments of frustration. But that's why they're there. They're there to run through that cycle every single time. But having Giacomakis out there, getting him more minutes. I think it was 35 last night. I think he was in for Miguel. It was 35 or 40. So once again, you're getting him, back into game state and game state thought and game shape and all those kinds of things. And so I think that it was leaning toward him probably starting in Chicago. It's like, build him up, and let him loose. So I think that's what we're staring at. Yeah, and when Jarrett brought it up next, the wall jumping, and you look at the great point by Nick Raimondo: jump with your toes down, because if you jump with your toes either flat or up, it gives the chance for the ball to increase velocity after the deflection if it's deflected by the wall and pounded into the surface, and and if it kind of works its way goalward. Yeah, if you go with your shoes down, it's an instant diffuser, and so that's great from Nick Raimondo. Yeah, the ball late reminded Niall of Julian and Joseph, but yeah, it was a fantastic ball from Brooks Lennon. Coco, we mentioned about Ronald Hernandez. We saw it at Open Cup with Ronald Hernandez, how he's very, very workmanlike, and Jarrett mentioned what we've seen from the twos, and we've seen it with him. But he's a guy that you need. He's a guy that you need to have hang around, and we saw that again last night. David talking about Mateus Osechu, and let me get Mateus's numbers here from last night and see what it was with Osechu. Osechu on the day, 84 minutes, 47 touches, 34 of 38 passing, 2 key passes, 3 for 7 on ground duels, and he won both of his aerials. So 5 of 9 in duels last night, 1 interception and 3 tackles. So Mateus Osechu as that point guard, where, if you think of Thiago as a shooting guard, Mateus Osechu is that point guard there in the midfield. 34 of 38 yesterday on 47 touches. So you got that from Mateus Osechu yesterday. Almada missed the penalty because he expected a wall to be there, and then it wasn't. It's like, wait a minute. So you got, yeah, there's that case. Niall Hernandez definitely made a case to start on Saturday against Chicago, but what do you do? What do you do on the left-hand side? Do you start, what do you do there? That's the question. Obviously you're going to be in consultation with the physio staff and all of the sports scientists and the doctors and all that kind of stuff. And you're sitting there going, okay, who can give me what? Because this is the third match in a week. And I think that that's what you're staring at more than anything. Who can give me what? I think you start, you're going to start Gutman, but then who can give me what minutes-wise? What does it look like? Obviously, if you don't have Amar, that's probably why you ended up, kind of saving Franco Ibarra for the road. Because now here's your sub numbers. And the way that I always look at it is your subs are going to be the guys in these short turnarounds that might end up starting on the flip side. So Giacomakis comes in, gives you 37 minutes. So 40 minutes, basically, or 53. So 30, let's say 37. Franco Ibarra swapped out for Santi Sosa, so I would anticipate that relationship flips Saturday. Franco gave you 15. My guess is Franco starts and Santi comes in and flips on that on Saturday. Luis Abram gave you 6 for Derek Etienne Jr. Tyler Wolff gave you 80. Tyler Wolff came in, gave you some minutes to spell Luis Aruju. Machop spelled Mateus Osechu. So my guess is that you'll see Machop get more minutes coming off the bench. You'll see Tyler Wolff getting more minutes coming off the bench. You probably will see Franco Ibarra starting with Sosa being the substitute there. So that's what, that's kind of just as a gauge how I would be looking at Chicago. And to give you an idea about Chicago's starting lineup, Shabilko was the one who got the goal. Gutierrez, Shaqiri, Haile Selassie, Jimenez, Navarro, Federico Navarro, Miguel Navarro, Sijos, Mauricio Pineda, and Suke with Brady in net. Gutierrez and Jimenez got yellows. I think that's Gaston Jimenez's 5th yellow of the year. So that means, once again, with yellow card accumulation, that Chicago, who is one-sided to begin with, is going to be without somebody. Yeah, Gaston Jimenez suspended, 5th yellow card. So they won't have Gaston Jimenez on Saturday in Chicago for this match. So, yeah, it's going to be, let's see. So I want to see how many minutes folks played. Substitutes for Chicago. Shabilko played 79. Navarro played 79. Miguel Navarro played 79 minutes. And Fabian Herbers came in. Haile Selassie gave you 69. Nice. So Haile Selassie gave you 69. Herbers came in and gave you 20. Jairo Torres came in, gave you 20. Gutierrez gave you 69 minutes. That's nice, too. So Shabilko goes for 79 minutes up top. Haile Selassie goes for 69. You wonder about the depth. Does Herbers start? Does Patino start? Does Koutsias start? Does Wyatt Omsberg start? Javier Casas, does he start? It will be very, very interesting to see what Chicago looks like on a quick turn after going down to Charlotte and then going back home. at least Atlanta played at home, got to sleep in their own beds. We'll go through region and then fly up on Friday. So that's what you're staring at. Yeah, I mean, does Ronald start? I mean, Ronald's a hot hand. That's the big question. Did Westberg get his assist? I have not seen Westberg get the assist yet. Yeah, and yes, I would lobby Opta or lobby Major League Soccer. Yeah, will the touch chip smash? it's a tap in putt, and you just went ahead and just rammed it right in the bottom of it. Gutman's suspension is a 1, and like I said, that's the question, Coco. Ronald's your hot hand, but you've got Gutman and your left winger paired with Thiago Almada. That's what you're staring at. So what do you do? What do you do at left wing? Is it Machope? Does Machope start and you bring in Etienne off the bench? Like I said, a lot of this is going to rely on what the physios and the sports scientists and all of the feedback give you as to who can give you what and how many. And when you play 3 matches in a week, that's what happens. So we'll see. Niall, I mean, that's why I wanted to ask Coach about Hernandez as being a part of the clean sheet coming off the bench. Coco, doesn't hurt to start Ronald, bringing Gutman in late if you need a goal. Yeah, I mean, and that's true, but I mean, right now, once again, 3rd match in a week, some folks might only be able to give you 45, and you might need, Ronald anyway. So, but like I said, we'll see what it looks like. We will definitely see what it looks like, especially in the midfield and on the wing when bringing in. And, on the wings is what you're looking at. Then you're looking at midfield, and I think that it flips. I think it goes Ibarra-Sosa instead of Sosa and Ibarra. And then left wing. So that's what you're staring at here. And then Ronald might be the first one off the bench, something like that. Let's see. There's the Kai Wagner discussion. Let's see. I'm trying to scan down and see what's going on. Yes, got the keeper leaning. Absolutely true, Nix. He got the keeper leaning and beat him to the short side. Lennon and Gigi definitely getting a really good partnership going. So very, very cool. Getting into all of the discussions about San Diego. And once again, it's very, very cool that we're discussing Team 30 and interesting going. Let's Team 30 and figure out where we're going for 32. Yeah, like I said, the World Cup 26 logo, like I said, it just looks like somebody broke out the bubble letters, and you get to do the what is it? Is it Kroger that does the bit where you've got the cutout and you just take all of the elements from Kroger and you throw it in behind and it makes it look like the person's walking through the store. I think that's what you ended up with the bubble letters, and then you just have all the different cities poking in behind it, kind of the same effect. But yeah, Coco, we are definitely gonna be talking about City. Definitely talking about City. And we'll get into that in hour number 2. Like I said, we've got the international stuff to get in hour number 2. Anything else that's on your mind for Major League Soccer? Whole Foods. Okay. Whole Foods for me is a little too rich for my blood. A little rich. I like, I enjoy going to Sprouts occasionally. Enjoy going to Whole Foods specifically to get, Arden's Garden stuff. But then there are other places where I can go like Kroger to get Arden's Gardens. But yeah, Whole Foods for me, Ricky, is kind of out of my price range. Only if I'm really trying to get healthy stuff and I have no other options than go to Whole Foods. But I've figured out, I think, where I can get healthier stuff, just as healthy stuff, and not pay as much at Whole Foods. We were looking up odds for the Champions League. Okay, so All right. What are we staring at? Now, remember, it's June the 10th. In the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal, before we get into hour number 2. Manchester City's at a minus 233. Your draw's a plus 388. Enter to win is a plus 644. That's what you're staring at right now. With minus 233 for Manchester City after what happened yesterday. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I was not aware. Well, very, very cool. Will, that Asad Liadi's back healthy, because I know that he was one of my early contenders for Golden Boot in MLS Next Pro. I was not aware that Greg Sankey was at the match last night, Ricky. Maybe the SEC would like to host their soccer championships at Mercedes-Benz. Just saying. Wouldn't be bad. Let's see. Coco, well, yeah, and this is an interesting question. If Gigi didn't tap it in on the line, would the sombrero have been a goal of the week? I mean, if it had gone in on its own, I think so. I think it would have been a goal of the week candidate. I think that, Coco, I think you're right. I think it would have. Everybody going through all of their markets. Remember, rank your grocery stores, rank your supermarkets. That's the QOD apparently. Morning, Tom. Let's see. They and Tom, they know this. The Lagerway, and they do have a big job in the summer to fix it. They know this. Tom, did you see the news about Everton, where it appears 777 partners, and like I said, this is from the 4-letter paper, so take this into account. It's from the 4-letter paper. 777 partners might be picking up Everton from Farhad Moshiri and as new owners. I think Michael Dell Partners was also mentioned, but it looks like 777 partners might be grabbing Everton away from Farhad Moshiri. So keep an eye on that. So let's see. And Tom, I'm assuming compression as well, and just getting him into match shape. And I would, have him healthy. Give me 90 minutes on the road with Gigi for that match to finish things out. It's just, sometimes, getting into the Ozzie Alonso discussion, we don't know what we don't know. Sometimes you have setbacks. Sometimes things just take time. And it's none of our business. Whatever the rehab timeline is the rehab timeline. And like I said, we're not going to get word from the physios and everybody every single day sitting there going, well, Ozzie had a good day today. His range of motion was A, B, C, D, E. And this is what happened, and we're looking for a timetable here. You can't do that kind of stuff. All you can do with any kind of injury, regardless of the severity of it, is sit there and you try to have a good day with it today, and you try to have another one behind it. Then you try to have another one behind it. And another one. We don't know what we don't know. But sometimes you just have setbacks. And things take a little longer because of a setback. And because you're coming off a knee injury, we know how difficult that is in the first place. And Ozzie has put things on his social media about getting closer in his mind. So I'm just, can't wait for everything to be 100%. Can't wait to have Ozzie Alonso as a part of the process. Can't wait to have him as that sandpaper lake to shut the door. But we don't know what we don't know. I know, David, you're a fan. It is your business. But, they're just rehab. Follow along on social media for that particular individual and see what's going on. But there's, like I said, we don't know what we don't know. And so just assume that it's a day at a time. And I know that sounds like a cliche, and it's probably $1 in the jar, but $1 in the jar. We don't know what we don't know. You just hope for the best, and you want him to be 100% when he can. David, will Chicago play differently than they did here? They were the better team in the loss. Don't know. You got new coach. You got how things laid out. I mean, all right, so let's go back to the lineup once again. Let's go back to the lineup from last night. Knowing that you won't have Gaston Jimenez in your midfield on the weekend. Shabilko up top. Brian Gutierrez, Zerdan Shaqiri, and Haile Selassie. Jimenez, who you won't have, and Federico Navarro. Back four, left to right, Miguel Navarro, Sijos, Pineda, Mauricio Pineda, and Arnold Soke with Chris Brady in net. Brady, by the way, punched a 6.4 last night. One save, one punch, one run out, two high claims, one save from inside the box. 32 touches, 50% in his passing, 5 of 15 on long balls, 2 clearances, 1-1 duel, and that was Chris Brady last night. So Brady had a 6.4 in that match against Charlotte. I don't know, different you're going to have to be a little bit because of compression. Different you're going to have to be a little bit because of Gaston Jimenez not being there. So we'll see. We'll see how different they are when it comes to what's going on. Will was surprised at the handball that was called early on that led to the eventual miss by Thiago Almada. It's probably, Will, when you look at it, the way that the arm was extended. The way the arm was extended, it wasn't a part of the body. It did not appear as a natural part of the body. Danny Leyva had his arm at like a 90-degree angle. So that's why I'm fairly certain it was called, because it wasn't, you're not down on your sides or anything like that. Danny Leyva's arm was up. It was up away from his body, or at least from the elbow out. It was at a 90-degree angle, and it wasn't in a natural position. That's why my guess is, that it was called. So that's what I'm staring at. Nix, just remembered this. Saw a lady at the Benz last night with a purple team jersey on. What goes through a person's head? Someone was wearing a purple team jersey last night in the Benz, Nix? Someone was wearing a purple team jersey. I guess, and I see this a lot. I don't know how many of you go to Southeastern Conference football games. But to me, that sounds like the individual that's a fan of the team in Tuscaloosa that just goes to other games. I mean, like, they're not playing there, but just to go and wear your Tuscaloosa stuff. That's what that sounds like to me. That's what that sounds like. That you have someone who's just going to a match that's not theirs, and it's like, going to an SEC football game and your team from Tuscaloosa isn't one of the two teams playing, and you still wear Tuscaloosa gear. That's what that sounds like to me. Hutcho, I'm right there with you. All I can think of is my world history and Ethiopian dictators. Exactly. Never get accustomed to hearing Haile Selassie's name in a soccer game. I visualize a 130-plus-year-old regent plenipotentiary in a soccer uniform. Well done, plenipotentiary. That's good stuff. Tom does not understand folks wearing random Premier League jerseys too. Saw 4 or 5 last night. Well, now my question is, Tom, is it like mainstream stuff, or is it like reaching into like the lower half of the table? I mean, is it like stock stuff like the big names, or is it like somebody that's obscure where you'd have like 12 fans, like somebody like wears a Wolves jersey? Was it like Wolves or Bournemouth or something like that, or was it more mainstream? Let me know. And David with the point about Hernandez, Gutman's fresh, let Hernandez spell Brooks late. That could be, but Brooks isn't going to want to leave. Maybe you bring in Ronald late if you're going to go, 3 center backs. or 5 at the back. Let's see. Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. Let's see. Wegmans, the end all with a Wegmans reference. Are Wegmans here in the Southeast? OG goes to Aldi and Lidl. Supposedly had a clause that only happens if they stay up. Yes, that is true. Yes. For those that may not know about the world soccer stuff that Will and Ricky are talking about, let me see if I can find the account quickly. It has to do with Portugal and how their tax man is kind of getting into it now. Story yesterday where the stadiums, players, and executives of Portuguese clubs Benfica, Porto, and Sporting are being searched right now under suspicions of transfer malpractice. Tax fraud, money laundering, and Social Security fraud are all possible charges. So from our friends at Get Football EU, here's the deal on that before I read a promo. Their headline, Massive Tax Fraud Scheme Swipes Portugal's Big Three. CNN Portugal reporting the Portuguese Tax Authority has unveiled they're conducting approximately 80 searches yesterday, investigating a tax fraud scheme involving transfers and players from Porto, Benfica, and Sporting. Events were set into motion back in 2015 when independent leaker Rui Pinto set out to unwrap the dark, and this is getfootball.eu's writings. Unwrap the dark side of Portuguese football ops in 2020. Portuguese government took action on the evidence laid out by Pinto's leaks, and now in 23, the claims of fraud seem to have planted strong enough roots to warrant a mass searching of football clubs, players, and executive homes and clubs' finances. CNN Portugal reporting each of the big three have their own set of crimes they're being investigated for, all pertaining to potential misdemeanors in the transfer business. Benfica are being investigated for the transfers of Gonçalo Guedes, goalkeeper Vlachodimos, and midfielder Chiquinho. Reports of tax fraud, social security fraud, money launder of contacts for all the crimes that seem to be on the table for the Encarnados. Sporting are not exempt. CNN Portugal also reporting Sporting's transfer business from 2015 to 2017 under the supervision of disgraced President Bruno de Carvalho is the subject of intense investigation. Transfers in question are Bas Dost, Naldo, Andre Pinto, Ruben Semedo, Battaglia, Beto Pimparel, and Schelotto. Porto are under investigation for the transfers of Lica and Carlos Eduardo from Estoril Praia. The home of Alexandre Pinto da Costa, football agent and son of FC Porto president Jorge Nuno Pinto da Costa, was searched Wednesday as a part of the Portuguese government's footballing exodus. As it stands, according to getfootball.eu, the searches are not over. The three clubs are cooperating. Porto and Benfica have already made public statements. More to come. So Portugal's tax man got all fired up. Definitely got fired up. Nick's, only shop at Kroger. Son works there, so that one works for me. And Gas Points, I'm right there with you. They get the gas points too. Wegmans from Airborne DJ. I actually liked Lytle. Sucks the one in Sandy Springs didn't last. Ricky. Tiffany Blackman said a fellow reporter from Channel 46 talked to Garth. Apparently said Goose could be back as soon as 2 games from now. Yeah, well, I mean, he was at practice after 4.5 weeks. He was supposed to be out for 10. Back at practice for 4.5 because Brad is a beast. Brad is an absolute beast. So not necessarily a surprise. Yeah, Nick has the photo, or he found the still with Danny Leva's hand at a 90-degree angle. Will's just not used to him calling handballs when it's deflected off your own teammate. Yes, David, this is jersey fouls down here. Falcons jersey fouls are the worst. Wear a shirt. Rich Ransom, welcome to the world of I'm at a soccer game, so I'll wear a soccer jersey. Rich, I need your opinion of what happened last night with the match with DC. Rich also says, honestly, no jersey at games makes you more mad than people wearing AFC Richmond jerseys. All right. Okay, so then let me ask you this, Rich. Since we're discussing jersey etiquette down here, when is it appropriate to wear fictional soccer material? The match last night, your match last night with DC. Just want to know what your overall thought was. And also, when is it appropriate? I guess this is in addition to where you shop and what your order of shopping is here in the Southeast. Is it ever okay to wear fictional gear at a real live event? Because I've got Richmond gear. You see the scarf over my shoulder right here. For those of you watching live on Twitch, I have my AFC Richmond scarf. I have my AFC Richmond gear. I don't wear them at matches. I do wear them around in casual situations, maybe around hanging around the studio or something, just doing whatever, just messing around. I don't wear them at matches most of the time because I'm kind of working, but in casual situations, I'll wear them. Is it ever okay to wear fictional soccer or fictional sports stuff in public? And where is that? I mean, maybe if you're just messing around in public, going to the restaurant or something, or going down to go hang out with your buddies at a sports bar. Maybe then. So, I mean, I have, full disclosure, I know this will shock you. I have actual movie props from the movie The Replacements. The Keanu Reeves movie where they were the replacement football players, Jon Favreau, Reese Ifans, those kinds of things. I have actual movie props. I have actual coaches' golf shirts and things from the movie. I have, as I stare up above me, I have a Dallas Ropers hat above me. I'll wear that stuff out in public just, when I'm wearing it out in public. I mean, I'm not going to wear it at a Falcons game or anything like that. So when is it okay to wear fictional stuff? That's the question. When's it okay to wear fictional stuff? Piscine. Absolutely no one's surprised to know that Team Piscine shops at Publix exclusively. Nick's wore his... Oh, I didn't know you had a Roy Kent jersey. That's cool. Nick says he wore his Roy Kent jersey to the pub to watch Arsenal since he was a neutral. Okay. All right, so I get that. The End-All says, I saw someone in Nashville wearing full AFC Richmond gear. That might be a bit much. Full AFC Richmond gear? Please explain. Please explain. Okay, so Rich is saying Jim is Curtin's playing a rotated squad on the midweek, still thinking he's overthinking things. David. Fictional's fine, just don't wear a team jersey that doesn't play. Bobby Boucher at Falcons games, Shane Falco at Falcons games, sure, okay.